Thanks for tuning in to the Thumb Strong podcast. If you could, please like and subscribe to help us reach more people and help them get started in their fitness journey. Thanks and enjoy the episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Thumb Strong podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about why we do what we do. So this is actually something that I was very curious about. Was thinking to myself, okay, why do some people adopt a healthy lifestyle and they stick to it? And that's what they do, and they live this healthier lifestyle, while others struggle and they can't stick with it, or some people just never even start. And the question that I was really wondering is if you ask every single person, hey, do you want to be healthier? Do you want to be stronger? Do you want to be more energetic? Do you want to be more confident? I'm really confident, and most people, if not all those people, would say, yeah, I would like to be more energetic, more confident, more healthy. If you asked somebody that question and somebody said, no, I want to be unhealthy, unhappy, not energetic, and not confident, I would be shocked.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So if everybody wants these things, why is it that some people just can't seem to stick with it, don't even try, while others completely adopt it and love it? Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to get into. We're actually going to get into the science and the different reasons why this happens, and hopefully it can help somebody that is that type of person that's just I want to be healthy and everything, but I just can't seem to stick with it. Hopefully this will give you that breakthrough to actually start adopting it and enjoy the process and actually change the identity, which is kind of number one on our list here to becoming a healthy, fit person. So let's kick it off with number one, Bethany.
Number one. Habits stick when they're tied to your identity. So if you say I am a healthy person versus I'm on a diet, it's two very different things. Look at it from smoking too. If you say, oh, I don't smoke, somebody offers you a cigarette, it's no, I don't smoke. That's just a part of who you are and what you do.
I'm not a smoker or something.
I'm not a smoker. And versus saying, oh, no, I'm trying to cut back, or oh, I'm trying to quit and stuff like that, then it's way different than saying, no, I don't smoke. Or I'm not a smoker. And then that's a different mindset shift and identity shift with that.
So a lot of it's in our mindset.
All in the mind. A lot of stuff's in our mind. Mm-hmm. So there's been research done from health psychology. It shows that people who adopt that exerciser identity, they're far more likely to stay consistent than those who only focus on outcome goals. So if you're focusing on becoming or being just a person that exercises or goes to the gym versus, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to be able to look good for this vacation, or I want to be able to run this amount of time. It's loving the process and the journey more than the outcomes.
Yeah. Small goals instead of taking big leaps.
Yeah, 100%. And your neuroscience backs this. So if you have identity-driven habits that are repeated, it helps to strengthen the neural pathways in the striatum, which is basically your brain's habit center, and it makes them automatic. So yeah, there's a part in your brain that has automatic habits basically wired into it, kind of like a computer code or something. And so it's like shortcuts on the computer. Instead of having to click a bunch of buttons to do something, you just do your shortcut and then automatically happens. So it's the shortcut for our brain.
And we talked about this before, how when you do hard things and things that you don't want to do, it rewires your brain.
100%. I'll get into that too. Yeah. But essentially, when you see yourself as a runner or a healthy person or something like that, your brain just makes the behavior easier to repeat. It starts to adapt. Your brain physiology actually changes to adapt to that.
And it also works vice versa. So if you're saying, I'm not a runner, I'm not healthy, I always fail, you're repeating that in your brain, and you're going to rewire your brain to always set yourself up for failure or convince yourself that you are not capable of doing whatever you want to do.
Yes.
So you're actually going to keep yourself stuck if you keep repeating that.
Yes. Next, we'll get into intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Barry, you want to?
Yeah, so the difference between the two, intrinsic is enjoyment, growth, energy, confidence, and it lasts longer. But extrinsic is more of a weight loss or vacation, doctor's orders, a social pressure, and often fades. So if you're thinking about it, your intrinsic is things that you want to be better at yourself, and your extrinsic is more of the outward goals, long-term goals that you have.
Yeah.
Like doing it for yourself versus doing it for somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a theory.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And then I'll get into it.
Deci and Ryan's self-determination theory shows intrinsic motivation predicts long-term persistence. So, again, when you're doing things for yourself and you want to better yourself, it leads to long-term and better habits. Going on from that, brain scans reveal intrinsic rewards light up the ventral striatum. And as Bethany said, the striatum is the brain's habit center. Mm-hmm. So when you do more rewards that light up to yourself, that leads to more strongly than external rewards.
Yeah, so like when we sit down with somebody to talk about their goals, when we're trying to figure out what might be the best program for somebody to get started with, if they're interested in joining the gym, but they just don't know what to do or how to do it, we usually do what's called a consultation, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about what their goals are and why it's important to them. And a lot of people come in and they say, oh, I want to lose some weight and I would like to get stronger. And so we ask, okay, why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to get stronger? And basically you're trying to peel back the layers, because that first, losing a bit of weight, getting stronger, losing 20 pounds, whatever, is extrinsic. Whereas if you can find that intrinsic goal, then that's where you're going to be way more likely to stick to it and actually achieve it. So we ask, okay, why is it important for you to lose weight? Well, I want to feel better. Okay, why is that important to you? Well, I'm uncomfortable. I don't like going out in public. Okay, why do you want to be comfortable and go out in public? Because I want to get more enjoyment out of life. Right now, I feel like I'm just hiding, right? So like that phrase right there is so much more powerful and meaningful. You're not getting fulfillment out of your life versus I want to lose weight. Mm-hmm. Like which one's more powerful and meaningful, right? A lot of people tie it back to wanting to be a better spouse, wanting to be a better parent, want to be able to lead by example, right? Those are intrinsic motivators, not I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to look good for a wedding. I want to look good for a cruise. It's like I want to be able to show up as a spouse, as a parent, be a better, role model, etc. Right? So there's just some more examples of intrinsic versus that extrinsic motivators.
And we were talking about before the podcast, like what's your why? When we were talking about this, there's definitely a difference between your intrinsic whys and your extrinsic whys. So like you said, your intrinsic is like, I want to be a better wife, husband, better father, things like that. And then your extrinsic is, say if you need a little motivation, like, okay, I'm doing this so I can look good, so I can feel good, so I can lose that weight, build that muscle that I want. So
a bit of both. It's good to have a little of both.
Yeah.
Okay. The next part is environment and social influence. It really plays a bigger factor than people think. Environment really outweighs willpower's effects on your habits and what you do. So the people around you is a big one. There's always a saying of like you're a sum of the five people that you surround yourself with. But interestingly, from Stanford, they researched and found that exercise habits are contagious within just social groups. So your friends' behavior can influence your own. So it's not even your friends, it's your friends' friends. And that can still influence your own like exercise habits. So that was interesting. As far as the neuroscience behind it, there's what's called mirror neurons, which is in the premotor cortex. And so when we watch others, like you rehearse their behavior in our own brains.
Yeah.
So that's like what's going on. It's like if you're watching it, you're like picturing yourself and mirroring that in your brain, that behavior. And so that's why like group classes or supportive gym cultures like pull people and help like keep them more consistent because they're watching other people do it. And then it just like reinforces that visually and mentally. That's pretty cool. And there's also, we all kind of know this with like New Year's and things like that, but the fresh start effect, people are more likely to start habits and have them stick for longer after different landmarks, significant landmarks in their life, like Mondays, birthdays, New Year's, different environments into this New Year challenge or something like that. But it helps to initiate the habit change. And if you can kind of think like, all right, that's the old me, and then this is the new me, and shifting the identity, that's part of it.
Yeah.
That can help with that identity change. Even though we know you don't have to wait until Monday, or you don't have to wait until next year, but sometimes it can help people.
Yeah. That's definitely one thing I'm still working on too, is that, say I had a bad couple of days, eating wise, nutrition wise, I'm like, okay, especially if it's later in the week, I'm like, okay, I might as well just wait till Monday. Like, I'm still working on that. Like, no, I can switch it for my next meal. I can switch it for tomorrow. I can switch it right now.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait for a perfect day because there's never going to be a perfect time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Barry, you're a big mindset guy.
I'm a big mindset guy.
Yeah.
I love talking about mindset.
You want to talk about some mindset?
I can talk about mindset all day. Okay. So there's growth mindset and fixed mindset. A growth mindset is when an example would be I can improve with effort, and a fixed mindset is saying I've always failed and I'm never going to be good at this because I'm not good at it. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a writer. I'm not a whatever you want to be. You're just telling yourself that you're not it. You want to have a growth mindset. You want to be, as we say, lifelong learners. You don't want to have a fixed mindset where you're just always down on yourself and you just feel in a hole where you can never get out of this rabbit hole of just bad negative thoughts. There's research by Carol Dweck, and it shows growth mindset leads to greater persistence after setbacks. So no matter what, you're gonna fail at something. You're not gonna be 100% correct all the time. You're not gonna have all A's throughout your entire life. All right. So when you have a growth mindset and you do fall back and fail, it's good to think, okay, I failed, I learned from that lesson. You either move on or you move forward through that wall. So I always like to think of it that way. And also going into self-efficacy is the belief that you can succeed. So it's one of the strongest predictors of health behavior change. And yeah, that's a big one. Just believing in yourself, even when no one does, is a huge one. Like we talked about this the other day when we had our conversation a little bit. Just reminding yourself that I'd rather not quit and stick things through because that's not who I am. We're talking about our self-identity, and that's a big one for me. Just even if you don't like doing something, it's going to end. So why not just stick it through?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that's so powerful with transformations and testimonials from other people, and that's why people respond to them a lot more, especially in the health and fitness space, is because it shows somebody that's in a similar shoe as whoever's looking at it, and they're like, oh wow, like this person's also a parent, or they work full-time, or a business owner, or this or that, and it's like, oh, they're like me and they did it, and so that helps to build the belief that you can also do it.
Yep.
So I think that's a really important, powerful thing. That's why we have all these hanging up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the belief that okay, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like other people have done it, so why can't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get too fixed mindset on the belief that that's just not who they are because that's not what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that you were when you were 10, 15, 20 is not the person that you're going to be the rest of your life. Like if you thought about the difference between who you are now compared to when you were 18, you're probably a very different person, or you've grown and learned a lot. You've changed your habits, etc. Same thing with you, Barry. From 15 to 20, I'm sure you've changed a lot, right?
Yeah.
I've grown tremendously from even 20 to 25, and then from 25 to 30, I've still changed and grown tremendously. So why I'm saying this is because you can change your habits, your identity, the person that you are through practice. You shouldn't just convince yourself, I am this way because of this. basically your past
Mhm.
experiences or the way you were raised, whatever it was, you can change those behaviors and become a different person if you so choose to be.
Yeah.
What is the saying? To become or to do, I think you said it in one of the last podcasts.
If you do something you've never done, if you
want
something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you desire to be fitter, healthier, more energetic, more confident, you've got to do something you've never done.
Mhm. Yeah.
Got to get out of your box.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another quote that I like is "Nothing changes if nothing changes."
Yep.
Okay, so if you don't change something in your life, the thing that you want to change will not change.
Right. Yep. That's another good one.
Facts. All facts, no cap. All facts, no printer. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. So we'll get into like the reward loop of this too, because that's, dopamine's a very big buzzword that people throw around a lot, but our brains do run on dopamine cycles. It's not really the reward hormone, it's the motivation, like neurotransmitter. So if you're a consistent exerciser, you anchor workouts to a result, like more energy, stress relief, and achievement. And so if you anchor it to that, you actually get more dopamine release to go do that, and more other like serotonin, oxytocin things from that as well. But those who quit those exercise routines anchor exercise to the negatives like soreness, shame, or failure, or negative experiences. But exercise also boosts your BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Essentially helps the brain just rewire itself and to grow and to change. So it makes it easier to keep learning and repeating the behavior. So exercise legitimately produces a chemical in your brain that changes it for the better. So,
Well, and to add on to that, I was just telling you guys about a podcast I was listening to, and there's studies that show people that exercise regularly. So, for example, let's say you go out for a walk or a run every morning. The studies show that you are naturally going to improve your nutrition habits. I am somebody who runs in the morning, so you're going to make more conscious decisions when it comes to your nutrition. It also showed that they got their chores done earlier in the day, so like laundry, dishes, etc. You actually got that done earlier in the day. In every other decision, you get better at. So, for example, it actually showed that you spend less money on your credit cards. So because you have adopted this healthy habit, and that's who you are, I wake up and I walk around every morning, it makes you kind of take a second and say, okay, do I really need to buy this, whatever it is? Like you just make more conscious decisions, better conscious decisions than you otherwise would.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually associated with spending less money on things that you might not need because you exercise every day. I thought that was very, very cool stat and study.
See, exercising can save you money.
Yeah. Even though you got to invest into it for the most part. But in the long run, I think you'll save so much money, especially on food.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't even imagine not buying and eating food at home every day. Like, it costs a lot of money to go out. Even fast food is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not cheaper.
It ain't cheap. Yeah.
I'd like to talk about change a little bit. I think a lot of people, when they think about change, they almost see it as a negative. And they're like, oh, like I'm good where I'm at. You know what I mean?
It's because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. But when you're uncomfortable and you have butterflies in your stomach or you're nervous, to me that tells me that I care.
Yep. Yes.
I care. I'm stressed out because something's new, but I care so much that I want to change.
Yeah. Our brains are wired to be comfortable. We want to be comfortable. And so that's why it's tough to do anything that is different from our regular routine or that changes us. But it's the uncomfortable things, like what you said earlier, doing hard things that rewires the brain and builds that part of the brain that is associated with willpower and becomes easier. That's why it becomes easier to do these things the more often you do it. because it just becomes a repeated task, that habit centered in your brain. It just becomes a lot easier and it grows. So you have to do hard things if you want to get better, essentially.
Yeah. Another quick thing that people that stick to an exercise routine or that are able to stick to it, they view it as a tool for managing stress, anxiety, or their mood. So regular exercise reduces depression by 26%. That was shown by Harvard. Because physiologically, movement regulates your HPA axis, basically your stress response system, and it lowers your baseline cortisol while also boosting things like GABA and serotonin, so like your good neurotransmitters. And it's the same brain chemicals that are targeted by anti-anxiety and antidepressant meds. So like boosting the serotonin, boosting the GABA, that's what the drugs target. And you can do it naturally by exercise.
Yeah.
And so for many people, it's not just, hey, I'm here to get in shape or lose weight. A lot of people that have done it for such a long time, they view it as their like daily mental health strategy.
I actually asked my whole 5 a.m. class, because a lot of them have been coming for 7-8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, why do you come? Why do you do this at 5 a.m. 3 days a week? And every single person said, they had a couple different reasons, but every single person said because of the stress relief and the way it makes them feel. They feel better. They're happier. They've got more energy, less stress. It wasn't anything to do with, I built so much muscle. Oh, I've lost body fat. I lost so much weight. It was, they feel better, less stress, more energy, more fulfillment out of life in general.
My 7 p.m. quote is Jim or Dale.
Jim or jail.
When they've had a bad day at work.
Yeah.
It's like, they're like, I gotta leave. It's either Jim or jail today.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
And people that don't, not all people, but people that don't have that exercise or workout habit built, they don't have the healthy lifestyle identity, typically those people turn to sugar, drugs, alcohol. So we're all combating stress. Mm-hmm. It's just what way do you want to do it, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One way's a little quicker hit, but then one's way better for you.
Yeah.
And that goes in to our next one of past experiences in early conditioning. So, like active kids, they play sports or have good family role models or good coaches outside of that, has a higher chance of leading to a lifelong healthy habit. So, I know for me as an athlete, like I've had good coaches and bad coaches, and both, I'd say, well, definitely the good coaches have led me to where I'm at now. But even when I had a bad coach, it kind of lit a fire under me too. Because, okay, if I ever coach when I'm older, I don't want to be like that coach. You know what I mean? I want to be a positive reinforcement for the kids that I will be able to coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's one thing with sports is just like, it's so ingrained into your routine at a certain point. Like always having something to train for, or like any successful person in like fitness or something, like most of the time they started off with some sort of sport when they were a kid.
Yep.
And they're just like, they got into exercise, lifting weights or other fitness, like ways of competing in fitness because like they had that void that needed to be filled. Like that's why I started CrossFit, because I was like, I need something competitive to do. Like I want something to train for. Initially I was going to do powerlifting. Like when I first started going to the gym in college, I was like, I need something to train for. And I was like, powerlifting is pretty simple. Like squat, bench, deadlift, that's pretty easy. And then I found CrossFit and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I was like, oh, let me try and compete in that. And then now it's shifted to like races, maybe some high rocks in the future, things like that. But having something to train for is nice. That's like the inner athlete.
Yeah. Going back to intrinsic motivators, like you mentioned, coaches, role models, so even parents. So like as a parent, if you're listening to this, one of those motivators for you could be you have the ability to influence your kids' future on who they become by being that role model. So if you're exercising, eating healthy, taking care of yourself, they are going to be drastically more likely to adopt that habit, take care of themselves, be a lifelong learner, an exerciser, etc., whatever. Right. So it's important to keep in mind.
Also, even influencing your friends or family members or things like that, just being the salt of the earth, I guess, just having flavor and being excited and wanting them to be involved so they can better their health.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me too.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it can also go the other way.
Yeah.
So, negative experiences like being picked last or shamed while you're in PE class, gym class in high school or elementary, can cause your brain to tag exercise as a threat or as something to be avoided. And so, later on in your life, you could view that as like punishment or as a threat or not a good thing. So working on rewiring that through a healthy gym space is huge.
And on the trainer side, I think it's so important to be influential and wanting people to come into the gym just because of that. Like, people are scared of the gym because of the way they grew up or something like that, or something that happened in PE class or PIC class. I think just wanting to have a good relationship first with your clients or friends or family, and then that makes them want to come back to the gym.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's 100% right. Let's see. So next, talking about systems versus willpower. A lot of people, obviously think, oh, I need the willpower to do stuff, which we talked a little bit of like motivation versus momentum last week. And the willpower goes into the motivation part of it of like, hey, the willpower helps get you started on these habits because they are tougher. So you need a little bit of initial willpower.
But it's kind of like a fuel tank. It
Right.
runs out.
It does. So that's why before that fuel tank runs out, you want to be able to have that system in place for those habits. So you get the consistency from those systems and you use the willpower to just get it started and get it going. And then maybe it's like you use the willpower again on a couple hard days or something like that. So it's not, oh, I have to knuckle through this the whole time, white knuckle it, since it is a limited resource.
Yeah.
So having like intentions of, oh, I'll work out at the gym at 7 a.m. 3 days a week, right? It doubles or triples the likelihood that you're actually going to do it. And your brain actually gets less overloaded when your plan's already pre-decided. But if you have to decide day to day or anything, it just takes a lot more effort from your brain.
That's why I recommend planning out your week or your days. And you could also use that willpower on something smaller to not need so much. So instead of like fixating on, I'm going to try I got to go work out at 7 a.m. tomorrow. When you're thinking about the workout at 7 a.m., it's like, okay, what could I do to set myself up for success? Okay, let's get my gym bag packed. Let's set it by the front door, and I'll set my alarm for 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like you get up, you grab your gym bag. Okay, like that task is so much easier. It takes a lot less willpower than thinking about actually being at the gym doing the workout. It's just like, just worry about getting to the gym. And then once you're there, I mean, everybody says this, once they're here, it's so easy. Just do it. It's kind of like a warm-up. Like when we're here, we don't want to warm up, or we don't want to work out. It's just like, let's start foam rolling and warming up. And then it's easy from there. Mm-hmm. Foam rolling and warming up is a lot easier than doing an hour-long workout.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's just start that task. It doesn't take that much willpower to start that. Once you start that, it kind of snowballs into the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Mm-hmm.
Last part. This one's interesting. You want to talk about some sciencey stuff?
Yeah, pain versus pleasure principle. People change when the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change. So neuroscience shows that the brain's pain and reward circuits overlap in the insula and the anterior cingulate cortex. This is why discomfort can eventually feel rewarding.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Yeah. So they overlap.
Mm-hmm. And so people, they'll say they like the burn of the run, or they like when they're sweating, or they got to push themselves. And, when people enjoy that, and if the workout didn't push them enough, then they don't get as much enjoyment from it, which I find very interesting.
Yeah.
But so I think for some people it overlaps more than others. But there is an overlap.
Yeah.
Like you get the more pain your body or discomfort that your body experiences, the more reward you get out of it.
I would say David Goggins is probably at the top of that.
Yeah.
David Goggins is first on the list. Yeah.
Mickey's actually like that too. Like when we have a really hard Metcon, he's like, "Oh, that was awesome." Yeah, he's laying on the floor like sweating, dying. He's like, "Oh, that was awesome."
Yeah.
Like, what? You're crazy, man.
Yeah.
But no, it's pretty cool to see, and it's nice to know that because like it's nice to know that things that you do are hard that might be painful can become actually very, very rewarding. And we always say this, like when we were doing competitive CrossFit, it was always after the Metcons that we felt the most reward. You know, once you finish that really hard, brutal Metcon or get a competition, that's where we felt the best. Like, oh man, we just did that. You know, you get that reward and hit from it.
Yeah, like you retrain your brain to interpret exertion as satisfaction. So it's like where you get like a runner's high or you enjoy the burn. It's not just like being mentally tough. Like your brain is actually changed and rewired after that point.
Yep.
Neuroplasticity. Your brain is changeable, people. So you don't like your brain now, you can change it. But yeah, so some people they'll change for early prevention, healthcare, or after a health scare. Some never do, but again, like the mechanism's the same. Like pain versus pleasure is what drives behavior. So if you can rewire pain to be pleasurable, or you get like satisfaction from it, then you're going to be more likely to consistently do those behaviors. Yeah. Okay. Any other things before we wrap up?
I think there's just the recap, right?
Recap. Final recap.
So we've got what we went over here. I need to zoom in. Can't. What do you got for the recap?
So essentially, if you want to do what consistent people do, you want to start by becoming that type of person, shape your environment, and build systems that make of the healthy choice the easy choice. It's like a big sum up there. But surround yourself with supportive people, build systems, link exercise to positive rewards, find intrinsic meaning beyond the short-term goals, and tie habits to your identity. Always ask your question, what would a fit and healthy person do? And then, just focusing on lifestyle integration, not just short-term quick fixes. And find joy in the process, not just the outcome, because the outcome only happens once. It's like if you can enjoy the process, you're way more likely to actually reach that goal, that outcome anyways, as a byproduct. So just make sure, don't see health as a temporary fix instead of a core part of your life. Rewire negative associations with exercise or diets. Maybe remove yourself from any negative environments or negative lack of support circles, and make sure that you don't connect your health with like a deeper sense of why. Like, don't keep it just surface level. Bring it down and really identify why you want to do it. So, in short, as a big wrap up, people with a healthy lifestyle long term, they don't rely on their motivation or willpower. They create the identity, environment, and system that makes behavior inevitable and rewarding.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you like and subscribe once the episode is up on YouTube. And we will see you in the next one. Stay healthy.